Okay, so this is part three of Tehilim 7, but we did not have shiur last week. And so it was good and bad because I did need extra time, and I had another nice session with my Parusa earlier this week. And we have ideas. We just don't have a unified idea. So I'm really counting on all of you to help to land the plane as it were. So since it's been a long time, we usually don't do this for part three, but I do want to read it all again. And then review our questions, and then I'll lay everything I have on the table, and then we'll see where it goes. Giving Tehilim shiur is always a tefillah. Okay, so Shigayon LeDavid asher shar Hashem al divrei Kush ben Yemini. The Shigayon of David who sang to Hashem on the matters of Kush ben Yemini. We're going to go ahead and go with the assumption that this is about Shaul, and again, just review the facts here. Actually, do I have the book? I'm not gonna read the whole thing again. Yeah, so that the incident was Shaul was trying to kill David. David and his men were hiding in a cave. Shaul went to go relieve himself in the cave with all of his men outside. And David took his sword and went and cut off the corner of Shaul's cloak. Oh, I forgot to look that up about whether that's possible or not with the swords back then, but whatever. And then Shaul left. I guess Shaul didn't notice, and Shaul left. And David emerged holding the corner of the cloak and basically said, "Why are you trying to kill me? Don't believe all these things that people say that I'm trying to kill you. I easily could kill you right now, but I didn't, and this is the proof. And you know, only Resha only comes from Rishayim, and like this is really bad that you're doing this." And then Shaul basically like admitted that he was in the wrong and David was in the right. And I would say they lived happily ever after, but it happened again. David, Shaul was trying to kill David again, and then David went and like went up to him while he was sleeping, and then stuck the spear in a place that made it clear that he could have killed him, and he didn't. And then and then Shaul ended up dying by his own sword later. So that's it. Okay. So this is on a song about that incident. We're not sure when in that incident this happened. Presumably during the incident, not when it was all resolved. Okay. Adonai Elohai b'cha chasisi hoshinin mikol rodefai v'hatzileni. Hashem, my God, in you I have trusted. Sorry, I have sought refuge. Save me from all my pursuers and rescue me. Pen yutrof ka'aryeh nafshi porek ve'in matzio. Lest he tear like a lion my soul, rend me with none to rescue. Adonai Elohai, im asisi zos, im yesh avel b'chapai. Hashem, my God, if I did this, and then I actually saw Rashi to support the Pshat reading. Rashi says, if I did this, im asisi zos, ma shemaforash achrav, what is stated after it. So this is now the list. If I did this, if there is an iniquity in my hand, im yugamalti sholem ra, if I paid back evil with evil those who were at peace with me, and rescued my tormentor for no reason. Yiradof oyev nafshi, let an enemy give relentless chase to my soul. That's how we translated the odd combination of yirdof and yiradef, means he pursues and he makes others pursue. So this is combined. Radak said yiradof. He pursues in such a way that makes others pursue, and nafshi, my soul, or my life, v'yaseg, and let him overtake it, v'yirmos la'aretz chayai, and trample to the ground my life, uchuvodi le'afar yashkein sela, and cause my glory to dwell in the dust. Kuma Adonai be'apacha, hinase ba'avros torai, v'ura elai mishpat tzivisa. Arise, Hashem, in your anger. Be raised up. What I'm trying to see, what is it? Yeah, in wrath against my tormentors. V'ura elai mishpat tivisa. Awaken for me the judgment that you ordained. V'adas l'umim toso v'vecha ve'elah lamoram shuva. When the assembly of nations surrounds you, rise above it. Ve'aleha lamoram shuva. Return to the heights. Oh, someone remind me at the end of shiur. I have a Tehilim moment that I wanted to share. But it's not for the recording. Adonai yadin amim, shofteni Adonai ketiki uchusumi alai. May Hashem judge nations. Judge me, Hashem, in accordance with my righteousness and in accordance with my wholesomeness that is with me. Yigmar na ra reshaim usuchonein sadik uschonin tzadik ubochin libos uklayos Elohim tzadik. Okay, so plain shot, which we're going to modify this later on. May the evil of the wicked end them, or the evil of the wicked will end them, and firmly establish the righteous. That's a talking in the second person to God. Ubochin libos uklayos Elohim tzadik. He who searches hearts and kidneys, conscience, God is righteous. Magini al Elohim Moshia Yishrei Lev. My shield is upon God. He saves the upright of heart. Elohim shofet tzadik ve'el zo'im b'chol yom. God is a righteous judge, and God rages every day. I thought right before shiur, I thought of a good Devar Torah that I could have given at the beginning of the pandemic. If it was in the context of how COVID is like an onesh, then I could have said Elokim Shavit Tzadik Al Tikri the Kel Zoim B'chol Yom Ella El Zoom B'chol Yom, and that would have been a Chazal style Mida Keneged Mida pun. Okay, anyway, Im Lo Yashuv Charbo Yotosh Kashto Darach Lechonaha. If one does not return, or we're reading it, if one does not return in tshuva, his sword, God's sword, he will sharpen, God will sharpen. His bow, God's bow, he will bend back, and aim it. Velo hechin klei mavis, he will, for him, for lowercase case h, he, God, will prepare the instruments of death, or prepare the instruments of death. Vayipol b'shachas yifal. Sorry, I just skipped a line. What did I do? Oh, Klemos chitav ladolki mifal. His bow he will bend in. No, I did right. He will use his arrows against those in hot pursuit. Hine yichabel aven v'hara amal v'yalet shaker. And for him, he conceives misfortune, is pregnant with trouble, and gives birth to failure. Which I forgot if we commented on the weirdness of the words there, but I saw the Radak. I'm going to use the Radak matir here. I think it's the Radak. Radak says about those terms. So it basically means the same thing. They're all like words for like bad trouble, misfortune, badness. Yeah. Okay, so we don't really need to worry about the differences. Bor kara vayachbreu vayipol b'shachas yifal. He has dug a pit and dug it deep, only to fall into a trap of his making. Yashuv amalo v'rosho v'al kad kado chamaso yired. His trouble will return to his head, and on top of his head, his violence will descend. Ode Adonai Ketzidko v'azamar Shem Adonai Elyon. I will give thanks to Hashem in accordance with his righteousness, and I will sing the name of Hashem Most High. Okay, so once again, I accidentally erased the pivot point, so I don't remember what we settled on. But what how are you feeling it today? What's the before we review the ideas that we had? Either or, if you remember what we said last time. I mean, I can tell you what I'm thinking, and you can comment on it. I think that, where was it? Yeah, hold on just a second. Yeah, okay, so there is a, hold on. Definitely from 10 and on is one thing. And then from 1 through 7 is another thing. And I think 8 is the hinge. Okay, and I'll tell you what I mean. 1 through 7 is all personal, is all about what's happening to David and what he wants for himself. And then 10 through the end is all impersonal, right? It's all talking about how Hashem relates to Rishaim and Tzaddikim. He doesn't really return to himself until the very end. I guess that technically speaking, that is yellow. But then in the middle, 8 and 9 are kind of a blur or a blend here, right? It is talking about many people, the nations. When assembly of nations surrounds you, rise above it, return to the heights. May Hashem judge nations. That's how Hashem is relating to them. Judge me, Hashem, in accordance with my righteousness, in accordance with my wholesomeness that is with me. But it does seem to be that this is like the clash of David and the nations. What do you think? Any other opinions here? Yeah, Isaiah? Or tomorrow?
Yeah. My only comment is I don't think we said this one before, but I think it's a good pivot.
Okay, good. I also haven't said it before, even when I was learning with my chavrusa. Okay, that's good. All right, it's possible it's influenced by my idea. Okay, so just to review, I'm not going to read all the questions we had. In fact, what am I going to do? Actually, you know what? I am going to read all the questions because I haven't not read the questions since and we didn't actually even do an exhaustive question thing, but I'm just going to read what we wrote anyway. Okay, so what is a Shigayon? I don't really care about that question right now. I mean, again, it could be making a mistake, which might be relevant. Who's Kush Ben Yamini? Okay, so that we're going to assume that it is Shal. And in terms of why not say that, I forgot if we read this together or if I just read this in preparation, that it would be against the kavod of the king to mention him by name. So he's just like alluding to him. Okay, what are the words? What does it mean on the words or on the matters of here? Plain shot is on the events that happened to Shaul, right? Or on the words that Shaul said about like David, like the slander. Okay. All right. Did David do something wrong? What is he saying here? Is the if a genuine question, meaning if I did this, or is this a rhetorical if? And if David is really considering the possibility that he sinned, shouldn't he be there be a bit more emphasis on his tshuva? So I think we've taken it that I think just the way we were learning it is he really is saying I did not sin, because otherwise why would he be so confident in saying Hashem judge me? Okay, so I think we'll take that assumption. What was that?
He's speaking rhetorically, you're saying?
Yeah. And I think I mentioned also that is like a standard formula for a who did I see? One of the Mefarshim said, was it Rashi also? Oops, sorry, hold on. Im Asisi Zos. Where did Rashi go? Oh, that's Radah. Rashi. One of the Mefarshim said he is Makalel es Atzmo. He's cursing himself if he did something wrong. I think it was Sforno. No. Okay, I forgot who said it. But basically, he's saying, he's not, in other words, he is directing this at himself, but the only reason he's doing it is because he knows it's not true. He knows that it's not true that he has this iniquity and he's paid back with evil those who are at peace with him and rescued his tormentor for no reason. He knows that he's in the right. Okay, so then, it seems like a very bad idea for God to hold you to tell God to hold you to meet us at din. Can you really be that certain that you haven't sinned and that you don't deserve any punishment? Right. So that was our major question, which was also a major breakthrough last time. The in all of those parts about asking Hashem to judge, but specifically Shofteni Hashem. And we did bring a raya from which I have not. No one told me that this was a bad move or that this was like somehow wrong. That in the layout of the perek, the way it's written, the words Shofteni Hashem are in the middle, and everything else is on the side. So to me, that indicates that there is a centrality, a literal centrality of that theme. And then someone else mentioned last time that the only other words that are in the middle are Al Divrei Kush Ben Yamini, which I thought was just because that's like a title. But then I don't know if someone said this or if I'm just filling in the blanks here, that really this is a case, this is a din between David and Shaul, essentially, so it's me and it's him. And the way that's laid out on the page is very much set up like that, and he's saying to judge me. But still, we ask the question, like, when do you evoke midas adin to Hashem? Okay. Then why would David rescue his tormentor for no reason? Okay, fine. So that we're saying is just that's also part of the rhetorical statement, meaning he did do it for a reason. So we can knock that question off. What kind of a fight is this? Hashem usually fights on behalf of David and is not being attacked. Yeah. So that's a question on Pasuk 8. When the assembly of nations surrounds you, right? Why are the nations surrounding Hashem, right? That's like they're going to attack him. That is very strange. So that's still a question. 8, is it advisable to ask Hashem to get angry, right? That's, well, maybe that wasn't supposed to be on 8. Okay, fine. 8 through 9, if this is about David and Shaul, why switch to talking about judging nations? That's still a powerful question. This is the one that I could not work out with Michael Russo, but I think I worked it out in the last hour. 8 and 9, why does David need to tell Hashem to do this? Isn't Hashem already going to judge? Which is always a good question whenever you're asking Hashem to judge. So that's another big question. What is the relationship between the two halves, the pivot? What does David want for the enemy to do tshuva, as this implies when he talks about Yil Tosh, or sorry, Im Lo Yashuv? Or does he want them to be destroyed, which is really what most of the rest of the perek implies, right? He has one little statement of Im Lo Yashuv, but then all the other statements are about God preparing punishment for him. In 13 and 14, why the emphasis on God preparing his weapons? And then 15 through 17 about the wicked digging the pit and everything. It seems like a mida connected to mida punishment, but who's bringing it about? Is it Hashem or the Rishayim themselves? And then the last pasuk, how does it relate to the whole perek? Okay, so that is a review of the questions. And then last thing I want to review is what our main idea was. So what I wrote from my notes is the only way a person can call God to judge his enemies is if he himself can stand up to God's judgment, which means that he must be absolutely certain that he has no avon in his kidneys. Okay, and we said kidneys is the part of you that thinks either the Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara or like the weighing part. Okay, but we're just using the phrase from the pasuk. And that's why David looks brazen. Perhaps this is also why he doesn't ask for rachamim, because that would only happen if he has avoni kidneys. Okay, if he has iniquitous kidneys. This is consistent with the Midas Din framework. So that was one track of the main idea. And then the other track of the main idea, which I don't think is the plain pshat, I think it's like the vanilla pshat, is the Targum, which is the Targum on pasuk Daled, says Hashem Elokai in avadis shirasa hada bechavanta bisha. Not if I have done this, dash and then all the things he lists, but if I have made this song with a bad kavana, okay, meaning if my intent in saying all this stuff is bad. So that's another angle here, and it's not unrelated to the last one, because in the last one he's also saying that he doesn't, he has a purity of sin, and he doesn't really have any of this sin that God is going to punish. But I think that is just another angle here. Okay, so just to reiterate, the question we left off on was, and this is actually I'm going to just change this to outstanding questions. Okay, these are questions we need to answer. Okay, one, how does the Mida Connected Mida fit in towards the end of the perek? Towards the end of the perek, I'll call on you afterwards, Ayala, in a second. The perek fit in with this theme? Yeah. How does his initial bakasha in 2 through 3 square with the tone throughout the perek, right? So in 2 through 3, he's asking God to save him, but it's a very defiant and confident tone in the rest of the perek. How do we count for the pivot? And then I want to list some of these. This is another big one, is why does he speak about judging nations in Ches through Tes, right? Isn't this about him and Shaul? Okay, and then what is his relation? I guess, what is his attitude towards the enemy, the teshuva of his enemies? I think that should be answered as well. Okay, now if you have other questions, you can list them, but I want to call on Ayala first. Yeah, Ayala.
I was just curious about question number 4.
Yeah.
Just shot question. What exactly, like when I'm reading the perek, what parts are talking about or referring to Shaul, and what parts are like, is it just 8 and 9, which is referring to other nations?
I think,
or is it the whole end?
Right. It's a good question. The end is not referring to nations. It seems it's just referring to Rishayim and Tzadikim. But the nation words it uses here are Adas, like Ada, an assembly, Leumim, regimes or people, Amim is people, and so 3 nation words. And I think that's it,
And then the end is just general, not specifically
Yeah.
Shaul, just Rishayim.
Seems to be.
So
Yeah.
I mean, just like a small point is that I feel like it's interesting that in general, I think from my impression, what was going on between David and Shaul is different than most wars or
Okay, good.
confrontations that David was in.
Yeah. Okay, how so?
I mean, I guess it's like within Bnei Israel, and I was
Yeah.
just like associating to that in pasuk 8, where it says like Hashem is rising above it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't exactly fit in, but yeah, it's just like a different type of war when it's like
Okay.
within the people.
So
between
I'm actually
leaders.
I'm gonna go ahead and deploy this now. Okay, I struggle with this a lot. Again, this is what Michael Bruce and I were working on a lot towards the end. Oh yeah, Michael, you can say what you're gonna say first.
I had a separate question, but if you want.
Oh, fine. Okay. So what was I gonna say? So I found this just like a half an hour ago. I rejoiced, okay, because it's gonna make things a lot easier. And it's a good shot. I mean, I'm not just rejoicing because it takes away our question, but it's also a good shot. So the Meiri says on where is it? 8. Oh, by the way, you should know, I'm not going to go into this. You should know that just if you're curious about it, apparently according to the Radak, the Christians take Pasuk 8 as being a proof of Jesus. And Radak has a whole thing against him, against the Christians. Like he's saying it implies that the enemies surround you and it's God, and that means Jesus. And then it's saying that he went back to heaven, which implies that he did come down to earth. And so the Radak has a whole thing on it. So, Christians always reading Jesus into stuff. Okay. So back to finding this Meiri. Okay. So Meiri says like this. Adas lumim tosoveka rotzalamar shiakifucha lihilachem. Okay, they surround you to wage war. B'cha, against you. Okay, now what does that mean that they're waging war against God? Ki nilcham im Hashem ye'amer alav shu nilcham im hakel. Because someone who wages war against the anointed of Hashem, it's as if he's waging war against God. Kederach, as it says, b'hatzosam al Hashem. In your I forgot how to translate hatzosam in that context. I know this is the pasuk that they quote about how anyone who argues or quarrels with his Rebbe, it's as if he's quarreling with the Shechina. But I forgot the lashon of hatzosam. Our scroll says who contended against Hashem. Okay, I guess that's mata or mariva maybe. One who touches you or who interferes with you is like you're touching the pupil of his eye. Okay, so you mess with the Mishiach Hashem, you're messing with God. Okay, v'amar alehem, and it says about them, ve'aleha lamarom shuva, v'havav yasera. Oh, sorry, let me just emphasize this part. Right, so in other words, like this oh, hold on, just 1 second. Am I mixing up? I know that the Meiri is the one who says something good, but did I? No. No, okay, fine. Was I reading to the Meiri? No, I don't think I was. Oh, no, okay. So it was like this. He's not talking about the other nations per se. Wait, there's definitely another thing that I'm missing here. Hold on. There's someone who said, maybe it was in the previous pasuk. Oh yeah, it's in the previous. Sorry, right. I mean, it's this one also, but v'kara ha'oivim liosam uchlasin merubin adas leumim. So he calls the enemies, because they're huge legions, adas leumim, an assembly of regimes. Ki kol hashvatim nikru leumim v'amim v'goyim. Okay, so in other words, the way I'm learning this is that this is talking about Shaul's men. Okay, but he's calling them nations analogously. Okay, or analogously, he's exaggerating. He's calling them nations. Okay, so they are the ones. So he's not talking about other nations in Klal Yisrael. He's talking about Shaul's men who are opposing David, the anointed of Hashem, which means that they're opposing Hashem. Okay, and then what is he asking for? He's asking for the Aleha Lamaram Shuva Vav Yisera. So Salik Shchinaska v'Hashgacha mehem. I think Isaiah might have said this last time. Remove your Shchina and your Hashgacha from them. Kinyan Elcha v'Ashuva el Mokomi, as it says in based on Hosea. I will go and return to my place. Okay, which apparently is a reference to the seal of Hashgacha. O pirusha lamarom shuva, or what does it mean to go up? It means to go up lashevas al kisei din, to sit on the throne of judgment. Ladunam ulashaftam, to judge them. Okay, to try them and to judge them. Okay, so what we get from this, the answer I'm getting here is going back to the questions here. Yeah, so nations. Okay, so according to the Meiri, this is not referring to actual other nations, but it's calling Shaul's numerous legions nations by way of analogy, and depicting them as waging war against Hashem, since they're targeting his Mashiach. His Mashiach. David is asking Hashem to either withdraw his hashgacha from them, or to sit on his throne of justice and judge them. I think the second interpretation fits in better with the rest of the perek, because that's what he ends up talking about so much. But yeah, so I think this is a good answer that allows us, again, it's good, but it's also convenient because it allows us to say this is not really talking about David and the other nations. This is talking about David, Shaul, and his men and their state in Klal Yisrael. So questions on that before I go to Michael's new question? Questions or comments? Yeah, Ayala?
Can the returning to the heights and like Hashem's justice also be like a Kiddush Hashem thing that like the leadership of Klal Yisrael is divided over this and it looks
good.
bad?
So yeah, so that is actually what the Hooiel Moshe says, which is also something I highlighted here. So he says it is about the Goyim, but still, Hagoyim Ha'ela, these nations, She'ani Misgorer Imam, who I am quarreling with, Ushar Goy Haaretz, Yoshvim, and the other nations as well, who are not quarreling with him, Yoshvim V'roim B'Maasecha, they will see and see your actions, and from them they will learn your ways. V'im Yeruni im kol nikion kapai nofel biyadei tsarai yadabru ra'alacha. If they see me falling into my enemy's hands and I didn't do anything wrong, then they're going to speak evil about you. The aleha means ba'avura, ba'avur adas l'umim zo hamiachalas mishpatecha, for the sake of this nation, this assembly of regimes that awaits your mishpat. Lamakom shuva, l'sheves al kisacha v'lasos mishpat, so that you should go and do justice with him. Yeah, so he's making the Kiddush Hashem argument here, right? Saying that that depending on the this is not really about me. This is about the Kiddush Hashem, and when when they're attacking me, it is like they're attacking you, and they're being L'chal Hashem Shemaim. Yeah, that's a good approach. Also, I'll add that as well, which is Hooiel Moshe, which is slash Ayala. Which is David is making the Kiddush Hashem argument, or really the Chilo Hashem argument, right? Chilo Hashem argument, that if he is innocent but allowed to fall prey to his enemies, then that will desecrate Hashem's name. Okay, any other comments or questions on this point? Okay, so I think we got that. Okay, Michael.
We might have asked this at some point, but I just thought of it. In the second half of the pasuk, so I guess between Yud and Yud Stein, I guess, it seems to switch between more Hashgacha Pratis types of terms and then Hashgacha Klalos types of terms. So you'll have like, he digs a pit and then he falls into it. That sounds more like Hashgacha Klalos or Mishlaik. And then you also have like Hashem has a bow and swords.
Right. Yeah, that's good. That's a good question here. I don't even think we asked questions on. Actually, I'll tack it on to this part, which is actually no. Yeah, we'll put that as a question, which is Yud through Yud Zion. Some of these acts of God seem like Hashgacha Klalos, and others seem like Hashgacha Pratis. I think I have an answer for that. What gives? Okay. Yeah, Isaiah?
I think I have like a bit of a move, but I don't know what. I don't know exactly.
Okay, that's fine. That's where I'm at too. So go ahead.
Okay, so maybe like because when he tells Hashem like you should move above nations, like and we're saying those nations are like Shaul and his other enemies within Klal Yisrael. So like maybe what it's saying is that there's two ways things two ways that Hashem could react, so to speak, to like this like rift within Klal Yisrael. Like one would be that he could completely like stop relating to all of Klal Yisrael and like hester upon him, like maybe like we have today, sort of like Hashem doesn't specifically like intervene with things, but he could also like specifically remove himself from the enemies and still help David. And I feel like those are like that's what David would want. David would want Hashem to like be on his side and not just abandon them because there's like I feel like it's the reaction could be like there's strife in Klal Yisrael, so they're not really worth like saving, or it could be like there's strife in Klal Yisrael, so Hashem is supporting the good party, so to speak.
Okay. I think that's a good move. I think I might actually also come at that, but from a different angle. I'm just going to I don't know where I should write this. I'll just put this under main idea possible. I'll just put forget. Let's actually not set our hopes so high and say main ideas. Let's just say ideas. Okay. Sometimes that's all you can hope for here. Okay, so so this is Isaiah's idea, which is, tell me if I'm get this right here. Okay, so so there are two ways that Hashem can respond to this conflict in the nation. Okay, either by withdrawing his hashgacha, because it can't abide with the lack of shalom. I know that's not what you said, but I'm just going to add that there. Okay, or by I guess siding with David against his enemies. Was that the two possibilities you were saying?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I think I saw someone say that. Yeah, Ayala? You can tell me while I look for this.
I have just a question on that. Isaiah,
Yeah.
are you saying that like David is giving these two possibilities, or these are two possibilities and David is choosing the second?
Yeah, I think David is saying like it's tefillah for the second possibility to be.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
what
thing.
Hashem does.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, where did I? This always happens when I see. This is another reason. Oh, in case you haven't figured this out, I did not find a single one of the Farshim that I liked, and this is the problem because now I don't remember who said what, and I was like using all Torah for some of it, and I was using my physical copy for another part. So someone says remove the like literally what Isaiah says, remove the hashgacha from them, or like wait. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, I did highlight it on Rashi. Hashem yadin amim hafoch hadin me'aleinu utenehu al ha'umos, and then yadin is lashon yisurin. Okay, so yadin is he saying does not mean to judge. It means to like execute judgment. And he's saying take it from upon us, which excuse me. I guess if it's yisurin, I mean David was really experiencing yisurin there, right? And he's saying put it onto them. And this, when I said that I'm coming at this from it's the same idea from a different angle. I'm going to add here this, unlike I guess unlike what do you want to call it? I was going to say natural hashgacha patterns. So that doesn't mean anything. Unlike ordinary cases of Hashem judging us. Okay, David's situation had a winner and loser. Okay, right? So there is going to be an outcome that is going to be siding with one of them. And I think that's when it makes sense to say what Isaiah is saying. And that might also explain why David can be brazen enough to just make his case that he's worthy of a better din. He is more deserving of the win of the din than Shaul does. So I think that works out.
I had I had like a bit of an extension.
Yeah, sure.
it's pretty drashy, but like maybe the reason that he wrote it in the lashon of like the actual other nations is kind of like to apply to future, so that the message will also be applicable for like the people in the future, and like hopefully the enemies will be the other nations and not like some maniacal king within our own nation.
Okay.
So like that.
Okay. I think that's good. It's a worthy drush, right? Is maybe he expressed, he referred to Shaul's men as nations because in the future, when we are in a situation of conflict, it will be with other nations, not in a civil war within our nation. Okay, that's good. Okay, let me show you something else. Where do I want to go with this? Yeah, let me show you just one small. Yeah, okay. I actually forgot to. I took a picture of this and sent it to myself, but forgot to put it here. Yeah, Ayala.
Just a methodology question in the meantime on
Yeah.
like Tehilim in general. What type of ideas are we trying to get when we're learning Tehilim here?
In general, I mean, the way I used to say it, and I don't think I've changed in this, but I just haven't re-examined the question in a while, is Tehillim is about man's relationship with God and God's relationship in man with man, or like man's place in God's world, and it's making ideas about that real to him, real to us, and these could either be ideas about how Hashem relates to the tzaddik / David, or how Hashem relates to the or how Hashem relates to human beings and his creatures in general. So this one seems to be about how Hashem, it's funny, I have not seen anyone say that this is about, actually it's not so funny, but I haven't seen anyone say that this is about the nation. This really seems like this was about David. And so ultimately we're supposed to take that and apply it to ourselves, but like, it's not a direct application, like we have to like abstract from what was happening to David and see what we can and can't apply to ourselves, as opposed to, let's say, like Ashrei, which is about everyone. Okay, so I will introduce this next idea by showing you a new idea in Tefillah, which I hope to work. This is possibly a new theory in Tefillah, okay, but this is the early stages here in preparing for my Tefillah class this coming year. So this is on the phrase Shofteni Hashem, okay, so I was taking it to mean, where is it? Shofteni Hashem. I was taking it to mean that Shofteni Hashem is a reference is like Midas Hadin Lashon, of like judge me as opposed to have mercy on me. Okay, excuse me. But I found an Abudaram in his Hakdama, okay, that explains why we use the Lashon. That did not copy. Okay, hold on. I'll go back to WhatsApp. Okay, here it is. So about why we use lashon tefillah, pelam alav. So he says, because of Chacham Rabbi David Kimchi, the Radak, shenikris hatchina v'abakasha tefillah. Why do we call the supplication and the request tefillah? Milashon paku plilia. She'inyano dinu mishpat. So it comes from pelam alav, which means judgment and judging. Okay, however we want to say it. Vatam, and the reason is ki hamispalal mivakesh me'es Hashem shishpetenu barachamav v'lo yifne l'rov haraos sha'oseh. So one who's davening asks from God to judge him in his mercies and to not turn his attention towards the evil things he's done. Ki hamishpat hu sheyazov lo me'avonosav v'lo yizachrem lo kulam. Because mishpat is that God should abandon, neglect a person's iniquities and not remember all of them, or not recall all of them. K'mo she'amar Hanavi, Yisareni Hashem ach b'mishpat, al be'apcha pen tamiteni. So this is Yirmiyahu. He says, rebuke me or afflict me, not afflict me, like chastise me, Hashem, but in mishpat, and do not diminish me in your anger. Okay, so what we get from here, so again, I was thinking Shofteni Hashem is Midas Hadin as opposed to Midas Harachmim, but what the Abudarim is saying is Shofteni is Lashon Midas Harachmim, but Shofteni Be'af, would be, judge me with anger would be Midas Hadin. Okay, so it could be, so I'm just going to take the notes on this here just to get this down. Let me close this WhatsApp. Shofteni Hashem. Oh, sorry. This is Abudarim. Abudarim is the phrase Shofteni Hashem need not be interpreted as Midas Hadin, but can be interpreted as Midas Harachmim. Okay, now I know that kind of undercuts my whole theory from before. But I do think that is worthwhile to consider, and maybe it does fit in with what Isaiah was saying, because in a situation like where you're in you and another person are Bali Din before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then all you really need is for the scales to be tipped in your favor. Like you don't need it to be absolute, like I would deserve this in a vacuum. Yeah. Okay. Another idea here is, okay, so this is what Macharusa was saying about, I maybe I shouldn't have done it in this order, but going back to our original theory that Shofteni Hashem is Midas Hadin. So the question was like, what kind of a crazy thing is it to ask Hashem to judge you? Okay, so I want to try to answer this question that we had, which is, so we answered this. Yeah, so I want to answer the next question. Why does David need to tell Hashem to do this? Isn't Hashem already going to judge? Okay, so the way that Macharusa answered this is he said that, Hashem is going to judge you someday. Okay, like you are going to get judged. That's the I know there's lots of psukim that say this, but the one that comes to my mind is Koheles, the last pasuk of Koheles. Not Sof Devar, that's not the last pasuk. Ki es kol maaseh ha'elokim yavi b'mishpat al kol ne'elam im tov im ra. All deeds God will bring to mishpat over every hidden thing, whether good or bad. Okay, so God is going to judge you. Okay, but when's the best time for God to judge you? Okay, so the best time for God to judge you is when you really, really thought through an action. Okay, and you did it. And then you examine yourself to see whether you did it for the right reasons, and you're sure you did it for the right reasons. Okay, and that's what David is really describing in the Shaul situation, and that's why, and that's how he presents this thing, So it answers the question by saying that God is going to judge you no matter what, but you want God to judge you when you are like you just made a bechira decision and you've examined yourself and you're like, look, God, I did this decision. I've examined myself from every angle, and like this is the best that I have. Like I know that I did this, and I'm convinced that I'm in the right. And I want a trial right now, And so I think that is an interesting answer to the question about why do you have to ask God to do this? And also there is a that's from a individual and isolation standpoint, but there's also a real world scenario standpoint here, which is that if Shaul, to the extent that Shaul is out there trying to kill David, it's really, really bad for the nation, and it's bad for Kiddush Hashem and all this other stuff, So David does have the right, and it is a sane move to ask Hashem to judge him right now. Like I want the Hashgacha to act right now and set these things into motion, because I don't know how much longer I can handle this. Okay, so that is another idea. Okay,
you're not saying that Hashem necessarily has to respond to that request,
it's
right?
Right, it's a tefillah. Yeah. Okay, another idea. Okay, again, just got little ideas here. So the Isaiah's question about, I think this was Isaiah's question about so we answered this question also. And we also answered the question about Hashem being attacked. And is it advisable to ask God to get angry? Yeah, at your enemies. Why does Hashem need to tell David needs to tell Hashem to do this? Okay, we did that. Okay, what does David want? For the enemy to do tshuva, as this implies, or to be destroyed, as much as the rest of the perek implies? Okay, so check out this beautiful explanation from the Meiri. Wait, Meiri? I can't remember now. No, it's not the Meiri. It is it the Hoyle Moshe? Is Yigmar nah? Yigmar, nope. Is it the Malbim? Malbim, where is wait. This is Koheles. That's why I'm not finding. Tehilim 7. Yigmar. Yeah, it is. It is the Holy Moshe. Okay. Yigmar na. So I can't translate the grammatical words. Shorsh Gemar Matsanuho the Binyan Kal Omed Viyotze. Okay, Hoshia Hashem Ki Gemar Chasid. Okay, so I think what this means is Gemar can mean to end. Okay, like Ki Gemar Chasid means that you know a Chasid has like vanished from the earth. Hol Omed Lakel Gomer Alai. Gomer Alai. Hold on, let me just see what this is. Gomer Alai, where is that? No, Gomer. Gomer. Oh, Gomer, Omer. No, I did reference the wrong thing. Okay, whatever. Okay, but here's the part I want to go. V'kan nofa nucha lefarsho b'shnei ofanim. Here you can learn it in two ways. Okay, so again, the pasuk he's interpreting here is Yigmar na ra rishaim. So one way is ra she'osim harashaim yichle v'yitom, that may the evil of the rishaim vanish, which would mean sheyachdu b'tshuva, that they should do tshuva. Okay, o hara yechale v'yashchis harashaim, or it means that the evil should finish and destroy the rishaim. Okay, so it's an intentional double lashon. Okay, which is I think is really good. That's how I want to read it. Okay, I want to ignore the rest of the whole Moshe. Well, I'll read the rest of it and then I'll ignore it. Harishon nira yoser. The first explanation seems more likely lefi hiluch hatevos, based on the flow of the words, which is the first time I've ever seen one of the Mepharshim use the phrase "the flow of the words." Okay, like the mi kol shekain shagam hamanakdim. Nakdu ra patach. Is that true? Yeah, patach. La soso samuch letevas rishaim. So ra rishaim, the evil of the wicked. May the evil of the wicked cease. So he's saying that that I guess patach means the evil of the wicked. Okay. Rachasheni yischaber yafet lamasha kasv achar kach. But the second interpretation works out better about what it says afterwards about the evil people being destroyed by their own evil. Right. Okay. So the way I want to learn this here is that it intentionally means both. Okay. So this is like Hooil Moshe, the pasuk. Was it Yud? Yeah. So the phrase Yigmar na ra rishaim is deliberately ambiguous. Okay. It can mean may the wicked of the evil vanish, i.e., may they do teshuvah. Okay, or it can mean may the evil of the wicked actually say end. End is better. May the evil of the wicked end, or say may the evil end the wicked. I.e., may their own evil destroy them. Okay. And then I saw him say in the next pasuk, Utechonin tzadik, and may the tzadik be established. Ein tzorech she'ata tashchis harishayim. I want to highlight this also. It's not necessary for you to destroy the Rishayim. Okay. Risham yashchisem. Their wicked will destroy them. That's basic Mishlei. That so are the ways of all those who like take spoils. It will eventually take the wealth of their owners. And then this part is going to go into what Isaiah said as well. Rak hatzadik sheim rotim lahachshilo, but the tzaddik who they want to make stumble, rota klomar letzairo ki ish ose resha, meaning to depict him, to portray him like a man who does evil. Ola hapilo mimala, so or to fell him from his high stature. Sh'ata tchonenehu v'toshivinu betach al kino. May you establish him and restore him to his firm basis. Okay, so in other words, that David does not need to ask Hashem for the evil of the Rishaim to destroy them, because that happens naturally, okay, as can be seen in the rest of the perek, okay. However, David does need to ask Hashem to intervene to prevent the Rishaim from doing evil to him, okay, and that's really where he's asking Hashem to stop this. Okay, so I think this does answer the question of, seems like a media connected media punishment, but who's bringing it about, Hashem or the Rishaim themselves? The answer is yes, right? That Hashem is bringing it about based on the way he designed the world through media connected media, and they are going to destroy himself. I think we said last time that is the emphasis on God preparing his weapons, that that in a way life is a trap, okay, but it's a trap for people who make mislikely bad decisions. Is that like I since I'm more familiar with a trap than like arrows, if you have all rishus is a trap, and you're basically just like setting the trap for yourself and then springing it, and so it is God doing it, but it's the way that he set up Resha. And this also answers a question about, does he want the enemies to do tshuva? Yes, but he also wants them to stop, and whatever gets them to stop here. And I think this might also answer Michael's question about the switching between Hashgacha Klaus and Hashgacha Pratis, because it is okay. Well, okay. Should I get into that? Hold on. I think if I want to say this here. Okay, this came up in my discussion with my chavrusa, and I don't remember how. So I don't remember. I don't know if I'll be able to relate this to the thing, to the perek. But I also was thinking about this because of last week's Mishlei pasuk in our morning Mishlei, which is that the Rishaim and the Tzaddikim relate to adversity in different ways. That that the Russia's goal is dominance and power and greatness, and so any like sign of adversity is going to be taken as failure, which is either going to break him, or he's going to like get angry and resist it and try to like power through, But for the tzaddik, then then failure or suffering are opportunities for tshuva and for growth and for getting closer to Hashem, So and that's really what David is doing right now, is that he's talking about all these yisurim that he's getting and using it as an opportunity to get closer to Hashem and to examine himself, to do tshuva and to reflect on the Mishpat Hashem and on the Kiddush Hashem and the Chil Hashem and all that stuff. Whereas these Rishaim, they're not thinking in that framework at all. Like, they just do their bad action and then they get the consequence and then that's it. I forgot how this came up though. Maybe we were trying to explain the dichotomy of either doing tshuva or just getting killed in their pits, which again sounds not merciful, but that's how Rishaim relate to the bad things that happen. And this is also how God shields the upright of heart, and maybe that's why it says upright of heart here, not clean of palms, right? Because what matters here is, if you are oriented in the correct way to what befalls you from Hashem, then that itself is a shield. Like, that's going to be beneficial for you no matter what. Okay, one more other isolated idea. In Pasuk 10, I think the Malbim had something really good. Okay, yeah, so Pasuk 10 said, oh no. Where's the Elohim Tzaddik? Yeah, was it here? Yeah. Oh, it was 10. Okay. I'm going to read the whole thing. Gemar harav sof hapuranios ye b'rishayim. So the end of evil and the ultimate retribution will be with Rishayim. Ratzalomar Hagam shehischil bara ki yigmar levasof beHarshayim ha'ele v'hem yovedu. So even though they start the evil, it will ultimately end with them, meaning that they're going to bring it about and then it's going to end with them. U'tchonin tzadi konin more al gamar habinyan. Konin is to complete the binyan. Okay, that's interesting. I thought it came from the lashon of kan, of like a foundation. Shagamar habinyan yihi livnos by base tzaddik. Don't know what that means. Okay, so tzedek, he says tzedek is a reference to external tzedek based on action, but tmimus mitzayin shu tamim b'machshavto lasos hatzedek kitom lavavo, and the tmimus, this wholesomeness, is a reference to the tmimus in thought, that he does tzedek in accordance with the wholeness of his heart. Mitzad ma'asav hachitzonim yishbatehu b'mishpat hatzorufi'i. With regarding his external actions, God should judge him with a judgment of refining. Shalzeh amar Hashem yadin amim. That's what it means when it says Hashem judges nations. Aval mitzad tom levavo lo yitztarach lemishpat hatzorufi'i ki Hashem yivchon levavo shu gam bifnei atmo tamim imo. Hold on, maybe this is not the one I was thinking of. Okay, I don't remember that idea enough to say it. Okay, so let's just, in the last couple of minutes, try to unify everything we have if we can. Okay, so I do feel like we made some steps. So I'm just going to look at this on the screen and just say what I'm seeing in terms of ideas here. Okay, so David starts off with the situation of that he's in, which is that he is going to be possibly killed by Shaul, and he didn't do anything wrong, and he's asking God to judge him now because he made the Bechira decision, and he knows he's right, and he's investigated himself, and this is a zero-sum game that either I'm going to win or Shaul is going to win, and if Shaul wins, it's going to be a Chil Hashem, and it's going to thwart your plans because of I'm the Mashiach Hashem. And so not only am I in the right, but this is going to be good for you as well. But I am in the right. Okay. And then I express a bakasha that either the wicked should do tshuva or Mishpat Hashem should take its course with them. And all of these things are descriptions of how God set up the world to punish the Rishayim naturally. And I think we mentioned also that might be the God rages every day. That this is like talking about the everyday judgment, not like some sort of like miraculous punishment or something like that. Now, what we haven't accounted for is the pivot or the final pasuk. I give thanks to Hashem in accordance with his righteousness, and I sing the name of Hashem Most High, which does not thematically or tonally seem to fit in with the rest of the perek. And what is the pivot in terms of the focus on Mida Keneged Mida with the Rishayim, and then the like David being in the right here? Yeah, Ayala?
Just a question on the way that you were describing the second half, the bakasha.
Yeah.
What exactly is the bakasha
Right.
that you're saying?
Yeah, you mean the bakasha in the second half? Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I guess the way that the Hooiel Moshe was reading it, it's not a bakasha because it's going to happen automatically. It's more of a declaration.
Can it be for Hashem to like speed up those processes?
Yeah. If it is a bakasha, then I'd say that it's a bakasha because of whoever we read before. Those are the Hooiel Moshe. Even though David doesn't need to ask Hashem to destroy the Rishayim. In other words, it's not like he's saying, Hashem, please destroy the Rishayim as opposed to not destroying them. It's destroy them now as opposed to letting things take their natural course, you know? And the reason being because of everything he said in the first half. It's interesting. It turned out the way that I'm reading it today, it's not like the idea I was saying about how you should be ready to call Hashem. If you're going to put yourself in Midas Din, then you should have, if you're going to put your enemies in Midas Din, you should be willing to do that to yourself. This is feeling like a different idea this time around. Yeah, Ella?
Can it be something about divine and natural justice? And like David is kind of like calling both of those to fruition, or like asking Hashem to bring both of those to fruition here.
Right. Yeah, that does seem to be the theme, and then the glue is the part about being on Hashem's side, you know, like in other words, really, this is on earth a contest between David and Shaul, but only one of them is on Hashem's side. And as long as David can say honestly that everything that he's been doing is for the Shem Hashem, then he has a good point. And by the way, we didn't even talk about this last time or the time before, I don't think. Did we talk about why David didn't kill Shaul? Or anyone know why David didn't kill Shaul? Not that it's one answer, but I'm curious if anyone knows. Let me see if I can find it really quickly.
I thought it was maybe like messing with the Malchus.
Yeah, that's what it was, right? So I think the Mitzvah David says it, or the Ralbag. Is he says, wait, is this? Yeah, this is it. I'm not sure. Let me just look at this. I'm going back to, I did this in Pesach, so I don't really remember where this is. But basically what he says is, it is very bad precedent to kill a king. Okay, and this is the first king of Israel. So if he kills the king, then that is going to create trouble for him later on, and by creating trouble for him, is going to create trouble for the Malchus as well. I think the Radak said it. Yeah, okay, so he says like this. Yitakan Lefi Pshat, Shekvar Haya Ratzon David Lahargo. So it's possible, according to the Pshat, David did want to kill him, or he intended to kill him. Velo Tasi Mimeno, Kiim HaKnaf, and he only got the corner. V'tischard Acharze David al Machshavto, and he regretted his thought. So Radak holds that he did change his mind. Alpha P Shehuter Lo Lahorgo, even though it was mutter to kill him, Ki Rodef Haya, because he was a Rodef, V'amar, and he said, Chalila Li Me'Hashem Me'asos Davar Zeh. God forbid for me that I would do this. So this is due to the excess of his piety. And this is also, if he did kill him, it would cause people to take the killing of kings lightly. And David knew that the Malucha would be his. And that's why he wanted to distance himself from that practice. Alpha P Shekvar Tzivahu Shaul Alze Ulze Gamken Tziva Laharog Asher Hargo Ish Boshes Ben Shaul. Okay, so he was consistent with this in other areas, right? So David is basically making the argument: I am on Hashem's side. So in terms of I am in the right, I don't have any avonos where Shaul does. I also care about the Malchus where Shaul clearly doesn't, because he's trying to kill me, knowing that I am the Mashiach Hashem, and therefore that is a basis for me to ask you to hasten this natural process of Mida Keneged Mida punishment for the Rishayim, and that will also cause a Kiddush Hashem, and maybe that is maybe that's what he's saying at the end, which is that I am going to sing about this and promote the Yedias Hashem and the public Shavach that comes from singing, from singing his praises, and that's why, in accordance with his righteousness, and I sing the Shem Hashem, the name of the Hashem Most High, in other words. This is going to lead not only to the Kiddush Hashem of not having a civil war in Klal Yisrael, but this whole process will show people the justice of Hashem. Yeah, Michael?
I'm just kind of noticed this. So if we're saying that part of what David is asking for is that Hashem specifically judge now as opposed to later to make sure that before the Rishayim are punished, they're not able to hurt David, that could kind of fit with at least part of what David is discussing that he might have done. He says, rescued my tormentor for no reason. Hey, that kind of is, it's almost like what he's claiming he hasn't done is what he's saying Hashem shouldn't do.
I think I'm getting lost, not necessarily in your way you're saying, but I'm getting lost in all the negatives. Can you say it again?
Okay. So what he's telling Hashem, so he's asking Hashem to destroy the Risham now rather than later, right, so they don't have time to destroy David.
Right.
I'm saying that in Hay, at least part of what he's discussing in Hay, that could be an iniquity he did, is rescuing his tormentor for no reason. That that sounds similar to what he's telling Hashem not to do.
Sounds similar to what he's telling Hashem not to do, to rescue the tormentor don't rescue the tormentor for no reason. Right. Meaning that you should anti-rescue the tormentor, which means kill the
Yes.
tormentor. Okay, yeah, so I had to flip that around. I see. Yeah. So can we just get what is the what is the main idea and what's the takeaway? And then I'll be happy. Let's just final. Hold on a second here. But I'm not doing a part 4. Final-ish formulation. Okay, so we got main idea is even though Hashem set up the laws of nature to punish the Rishaim, you have the right to ask Hashem to hasten the process so long as you are so long as this is a zero-sum game where there will be a winner and loser. B, you are on the winning side. And C, you're absolutely sure of it. Okay. That seems to be the main idea and the this really is a main idea and practical takeaway. Okay. And one more thing also, hold on. And D, everything you're doing is ultimately for the sake of the Shem Hashem. Okay, let's leave that and back away slowly before we find something that causes it to collapse. Okay, that's good for now. And look, I'm still saying this every day. And now I'm gonna try saying it with an idea, and we'll see if I have any additions. I'll try to relay it to everyone. But I think this is a good perek to do. This is a tough one, but very interesting. And look, this is the advantage. Look, I know it's very tempting, and I'm going to be doing this. Spoiler: I'll probably be doing this a lot next year. Very tempting to focus only on the program that we say, okay, or that we're familiar with. This is one that none of us were familiar with. No one ever says it, But this is where you get a guidebook for how to relate to God and how God relates to us. So like, there's reasons why they put certain ones in tefillah, but the fact that they put certain ones in tefillah does not mean that like there aren't really useful ideas for how to relate to God in the rest of Tehilim. So I think this is a good example of that. Yeah, was there a hand I saw, but I didn't see who it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, based off of this, it seems like, maybe this is just in general, that it's kind of like, is there ever a situation where we can invoke this as, probably not as individuals, but even as a nation? Like, I feel like it until like the times of like Mashiach, maybe. Will we ever be on this level?
Right. So I do think the fact, when we first read this, it did seem like only someone who's perfectly righteous can do this. I really think, though, the fact that this is when there is a winner and loser, and if you really are sure of your cause, then you can invoke this. Like, I think, let's take an example where like, I don't even remember the particular, but like, I think there was a case where like someone made some accusation against the Rav, and when this is when he was a shul Rav somewhere, and like it was like a question of his integrity. I think they like were accusing him somehow of like, not embezzlement, but like some sort of dishonest money practice or something like that, and like he knew he was in the right, and that this would be a tremendous chilul Hashem if like people ended up thinking this about him, and he knew he didn't do it. So I would say like that might be a case where you can actually like ask Hashem for this and you're not a complete tzaddik, based on the idea that we have. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna end shiur here, and then if anyone wants to stay for this Tehilim moment, then I'll share it. Stop the recording.